Hi, I'm Stacy. I'm the host of the Bitcoin Nova podcast, and today I'm here to help you understand Bitcoin from a beginner level. In this course, Bitcoin Basics for Nigerians, a beginner's course. The duration is 4 weeks from July 2nd to July 23rd. The objective is to provide Nigerians with a clear understanding of Bitcoin, its uses, its importance, enabling them to take control of their financial future. Certification, Bitcoin Basics Certified. Earned by passing weekly quizzes and practical exercise. Setting up a wallet is one example. Target audience, Nigerians at home and abroad, especially women with little or no prior knowledge of Bitcoin. Course overview. This is a 4-week course that breaks down Bitcoin into simple, relatable concepts using Nigerian examples, like mobile money or market trading. Each week covers a module with practical lessons, visuals, and glossary to make learning easy. By the end, you'll understand how Bitcoin works, how to use it safely, and why it's an important tool for financial freedom in Nigeria. The curriculum structure is Level 1, Bitcoin Basics, beginner level, 4 weeks duration, equips participants with foundational knowledge of Bitcoin and its relevance. Modules, Introduction to Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin? Its history and origins. Satoshi Nakamoto, the 2008 white paper, why Bitcoin matters, financial inclusion, sovereignty, and empowerment. So what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a digital peer-to-peer cash system. Satoshi Nakamoto came up with a solution to a problem for cryptography that allowed Bitcoin to work. Satoshi believed in it so much, he stayed anonymous from the very first email he sent about this project. He knew so early on that it would be very important to keep his identity secret. Satoshi came out with the white paper in 2008, and Bitcoin officially started running in 2009. Genesis block was the original block. It said the headline of that day's news, Chancellor on the brink of second bailout, to timestamp that important moment in history. This is a new system that can escape and actually have rules to a system that has no rules. Bitcoin came out, it could be mined on a personal computer at that time, slowly began spreading, and it didn't have much value, so nobody was really paying attention. That's why we think of Bitcoin as a grassroots movement. It grew slowly under the radar until people actually started paying attention years later when it actually started being worth something. Bitcoin is a digital ledger. Computers are miners. By mining, a computer is confirming a transaction. So if you send Bitcoin to somebody else, all of the computers that are confirming these transactions is what's called mining. They are confirming that this actually did happen. And once enough of those transactions are confirmed, they're included in what's called a block on the blockchain. Every 10 minutes, there's a new block. It is encrypted and added to the chain. Satoshi's release schedule. Bitcoin comes out at a set pace. Right now, we are at about 98% of all Bitcoin that's been mined, that is available out there for exchange. It's estimated to take the next 10 years for 1% more of that Bitcoin to be mined. And it will take the next 100 years until the year 2140 for the last 1% of Bitcoin to be mined. By the end of this, it's not going to be whole Bitcoins being mined. It's going to be fractions of a Bitcoin called Satoshis. Satoshis are like the pennies of Bitcoin. And a lot of people wonder, what about the advances in AI in computers? Satoshi thought of that too. Satoshi programmed in the software something called the difficulty adjustment. So as computing power gets stronger, if these Bitcoin blocks, these confirmations, get confirmed faster than 10 minutes, because every block is 10 minutes, the system automatically readjusts itself to make solving those puzzles even harder to keep the blocks at 10 minutes apart. Bitcoin keeps adjusting. And also remember that when Bitcoin first started, it was able to be mined on most home computers. Now there are warehouses filled with supercomputers that are mining Bitcoin. So as the block rewards get halved and become smaller, the incentive grows because Bitcoin's value keeps growing. And Bitcoin's value keeps growing because the network is strengthened and harder to attack. Today, it's so insanely hard to attack Bitcoin that miners or attackers are incentivized to just mine Bitcoin. Also, there's a question of the environment. The environment is something that people ask about with Bitcoin mining. They think that Bitcoin takes up too much energy and it's not good for the earth. But because of human greed, Bitcoin can actually help solve some of these problems. So if a huge company or mining farm has a warehouse full of supercomputers, they're using a large amount of energy to mine Bitcoin. At the end of every month, they have to pay the electricity company for whatever energy they've used to accumulate Bitcoin or mine Bitcoin. And because of human greed, there are alternative solutions. Companies can find a way to innovate and create solar, wind, or other natural mining strategies. So Bitcoin can actually help the world go green because it incentivizes miners to find alternate solutions to preserve their wealth. So alternative solutions are incentivized, which is good for the earth. So yes, because people don't want to lose out on their profits, they find a way to do it more efficiently and cheaply. So Satoshi gave the world this gift. He gave the world a solution where everybody plays by the same rules of the game. Nobody can change those rules. No government, no corporation can change those rules. In the fiat system, the rules can be changed anytime they choose. So it's an unfair system because the rules can be changed. And Bitcoin is unlike any other cryptocurrency. All the other cryptocurrencies are really just another fiat-like system with a CEO or a small group in charge of a large supply of coins, and they choose to change the rules whenever they want. So you shouldn't be fooled by other cryptocurrencies telling you that this is the next Bitcoin, because it's already been tried before. There's something called the block size wars, where people tried to change the rules of Bitcoin. So by trying to change the rules, you actually create an alternate coin. And when that happened, it created what's called a fork, a new coin. And this happened with something called Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV. They couldn't convince the members of the Bitcoin network to move to this new network. So really, that's why there is no second Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has the largest network, the most global decentralized network, and you can't bring all of those people over to a new one because Bitcoin's been working for all these years. Bitcoin's never been hacked. No one's ever been able to change the rules on Bitcoin. If they have tried, it created a new coin, and the network didn't follow. The people didn't follow. So you can't just create another Bitcoin. There are some people who will try to convince you. There are other blockchains out there that are just like Bitcoin when it started, and it's proof of work, like Bitcoin is. They can tell you that as much as they want. If the CEO or the small majority of people that own a large amount of the supply can decide tomorrow to change the rules of the game, they can create more coins. They can turn it into proof of stake, which is where you deposit the coins and almost earn interest on them. With Bitcoin, nobody can do that. Nobody can decide tomorrow that we are going to change the rules of this game. That's what makes Bitcoin special. Bitcoin is unstoppable in that way. And that's what defends your wealth. The fact that nobody can change the supply, the fact that nobody can steal your coins is what makes it special. And Satoshi, the creator, his coins are proof. Satoshi mined 1 million Bitcoins, and they're still sitting in his wallet. It's a transparent ledger that anyone can see. So even though there aren't names listed, their wallet addresses are listed. So you can check from the largest wallet and keep scrolling. Satoshi's wallet is the largest, and not one coin has ever moved out of that wallet. Bitcoin is so secure that there are 1 million Bitcoins, and not one hacker or government has been able to seize this Bitcoin or convince the network that they belong in someone else's wallet. So the point of Satoshi walking away from Bitcoin is so powerful. He left those coins sitting there to prove something, to prove that there's this bounty out there that nobody has been able to touch, and proves to you how secure this network is. So if Satoshi's coins are safe, your coins will be safe also. The only way to access coins is through your seed phrase. A seed phrase is something that you get when you purchase a hardware wallet. A lot of people can store their coins on an exchange, like Bot Me Cash in Nigeria. When people say cold storage, that means that it's a device that comes with a seed phrase. A seed phrase is a group of words that it's the key to your vault. So when you get those words, it's very important to keep them safe. You're never supposed to store them on a digital device. You should write down your words in a safe place. And there are stories of people who've lost their Bitcoin, who lost those words, which is a key to that vault, that digital vault. That doesn't happen as much nowadays, because early on, when people would transfer their coins off of an exchange and into a hardware wallet, a cold storage wallet, the Bitcoin wasn't worth very much. So people would forget about it. They didn't realize what Bitcoin would become. They didn't know how important it would be or how valuable. So they were not careful with those words. Now that people understand more and more Bitcoin's value, and once you store your Bitcoin in cold storage, once you have a device with those words, you guard those words with your life. If you were to remember those words and keep them stored up in your mind, you could leave your device behind. You could leave it at home. You could decide to leave the country tomorrow. Your device usually has a PIN code, and if somebody attempts to access that device with a PIN code, after 3 attempts, they're locked out. So if you show up to your new country, wherever you choose to live next, and you order another device, and you have your words memorized, or you have them written down and bring them with you safely, but especially if you have them memorized, you can order a new device and you can put in those words and you have all of your Bitcoin back with you again. You can travel anywhere in the world with any amount of money freely, and you're storing it all in your mind. You have the ultimate freedom and the ultimate responsibility. Yes, you do have to be responsible. Yes, you do have to guard those words and protect them and not lose them and not share them. But that is your responsibility. That is also your gift. So Bitcoin has the ultimate freedom, the ultimate empowerment, the ultimate trust in a system that defends attackers and manipulators from changing the rules of this game. How Bitcoin works. Bitcoin isn't magic. It's built on smart technology that keeps it safe and fair. Think of it as a digital ledger or a book that everyone can see, but no one can cheat. This module breaks down the tech so you can understand how your Bitcoin stays secure and why it's trusted worldwide, even in Nigeria. Blockchain basics, decentralization, blocks, and transactions. The blockchain is a digital record of all Bitcoin transactions stored on many computers, which makes that decentralized, made up of blocks, groups of transactions. Imagine a market ledger where every sale is written down and shared with all traders so no one can lie. The blockchain is like that every time someone sends Bitcoin. It's recorded in a block and thousands of computers, nodes, agree it's real. Decentralization means no bank or government can shut it down, which is great for Nigerians facing banking limits. Public and private keys, understanding wallets and security. Definition. A public key is like your bank account number, safe to share. A private key is like your PIN number, keep it secret. A wallet is an app or device that holds these keys. To use Bitcoin, you need a wallet. I like Trust Wallet on your phone. Your public key is where people send Bitcoin to you, like giving out your phone number for airtime. Your private key unlocks your Bitcoin, so never share it. If you lose your private key, your Bitcoin is gone, just like losing cash. This keeps your money safe from hackers or banks. Public key, shareable. Like your bank account number, it's safe to share. It's used to receive Bitcoin. Here's an example. Private key, those words I was talking about, keep this secret. Like your PIN or password, never share it. It's used to sign transactions and prove ownership of the Bitcoin. A private key that gives full access to a wallet. A wallet is a tool that stores your private key and generates public keys. Anyone can send you Bitcoin on a public key, but only you can spend it using your private key. Losing your private key means losing your Bitcoin forever. There's no forgot password button. Always back up your private key or seed phrase securely. Use hardware wallets or trusted apps for safety. What is mining? Mining is how new Bitcoin is created and how the network stays secure in an agreement, consensus, without a central authority. What is proof of work? Proof of work is a process where computers called miners compete to solve a complex math puzzle. The first one to solve it gets to add the next block of transactions to the Bitcoin blockchain. As a reward, they earn new Bitcoins, plus transaction fees. This process happens roughly every 10 minutes. Why it matters. It secures the network. Miners must use real electricity and hardware, making it very expensive to cheat. Decentralized consensus. All honest nodes agree on which block came next. There's no central boss. It protects against double spending. Once your transaction is in a block, it's nearly impossible to reverse. Mining makes Bitcoin trustless. No need to rely on banks or governments. Proof of work is what makes Bitcoin censorship resistant and immutable. It's the foundation of Bitcoin's integrity and scarcity. Mining is like running a lottery powered by math and electricity every 10 minutes. It decides who gets to write the next page in Bitcoin's history. Miners are like accountants who check Bitcoin transactions. They use powerful computers to solve puzzles, and when they do, they add a block to the blockchain and earn Bitcoin as reward. In Nigeria, mining is less common because of the high electricity costs, but you don't need a mine to use Bitcoin. Just buy it or receive it. Blockchain, a digital shared record of Bitcoin transactions. Public key, your Bitcoin address, safe to share for receiving money. Private key, a secret code to access your Bitcoin. Keep private. Mining, the process of confirming Bitcoin transactions and earning rewards. 21 insurmountable facts about Bitcoin. The technological facts. Bitcoin's total supply is capped at 21 million. Bitcoin runs on a decentralized, permissionless network. The Bitcoin blockchain has operated with over 99.98% uptime since 2009. Every Bitcoin transaction is irreversible once confirmed. Bitcoin uses proof of work for consensus. Bitcoin is open source and auditable. Bitcoin transactions are pseudonymous, not anonymous. So your name is not provided, but it is traceable through your Bitcoin wallet address. Bitcoin security is backed by the largest computational network in the world. Block time is approximately 10 minutes. Bitcoin is deflationary. Economic. Bitcoin is divisible into 100,000 units called Satoshis. Bitcoin is borderless and can be sent anywhere in the world within minutes. Bitcoin is programmable money. Bitcoin's monetary policy is predictable and transparent. Bitcoin is immune to inflation caused by political or central bank interference. Philosophical and societal. Bitcoin is neutral and doesn't discriminate. Bitcoin empowers individuals with financial sovereignty. Bitcoin transactions can't be censored. Bitcoin is a hedge against fiat currency. Bitcoin is the first truly decentralized global currency. Bitcoin is a movement, not just money. More verifiable foundational facts about Bitcoin based on its design, history, and operation. Bitcoin is a complex, multifaceted topic, but here are 21 verifiable and foundational facts about Bitcoin based on its design, history, and operation. These facts are grounded in Bitcoin's protocol, blockchain data, and well-documented history, avoiding speculation and subjective claims. I've aimed for clarity and conclusion while ensuring accuracy. Decentralized network. Bitcoin operates on a peer-to-peer network without central authority, relying on nodes to validate transactions and maintain the blockchain. Created by Satoshi Nakamoto, Bitcoin was introduced in a 2008 white paper by an anonymous entity or a person using the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto. Genesis block. The first block, known as the Genesis block, was mined on January 3rd, 2009, marking the network's launch. Fixed supply. Bitcoin has a maximum supply cap of 21 million coins, hard-coded into its protocol to prevent inflation. The reward for mining a new block halves approximately every 4 years or every 210,000 blocks, reducing the rate of new Bitcoin issuance. Current block reward. As of June 2025, the block reward is 3.125 Bitcoin, following the April 2024 halving. Proof of work consensus. Bitcoin uses a proof of work mechanism where miners solve computational puzzles to validate transactions and earn rewards. Bitcoin's proof of work relies on graphic hash function for securing transactions and mining. Immutable ledger. Once confirmed, transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain are practically immutable due to the computational work required to alter past blocks. Pseudonymous transactions. Linked to public addresses rather than real-world entities, though not fully anonymous. Transparent blockchain. Bitcoin transactions are recorded on a public ledger, verifiable by anyone using a blockchain explorer. Finite divisibility. One Bitcoin is divisible into 100 million smaller units called Satoshis, enabling microtransactions. No central issuing authority. Unlike fiat currencies, Bitcoin is not issued or backed by any government or central bank. Global accessibility. Bitcoin can be sent or received anywhere with internet access, bypassing traditional financial intermediaries. Transaction. Users pay fees to miners to prioritize transaction processing, which vary based on network congestion. Block time. Bitcoin's protocol targets an average block time of 10 minutes, though actual times vary slightly. Mining difficulty adjustment. This network adjusts mining difficulty every 2016 blocks, roughly 2 weeks, to maintain consistent block times. Total supply progress. As of June 2025, approximately 19.7 million Bitcoin have been mined, with the remaining supply to be mined in the year 2140. Open source software. Bitcoin's code is open source, maintained by a global community of developers under the MIT license. The first real-world Bitcoin transaction occurred May 22nd, 2010, when 10,000 Bitcoin were used to buy. Bitcoin mining consumes significant energy, with estimates in 2024 suggesting annual usage compared to some small countries. That's all I've got for today for beginner Bitcoin topics.